when these cops get together like this in these protests, they get, because they with their buddies and these big group of cops, they get mob mentality. I swear, if I'm looking at like a TV and it says $1,100 and that shit go up to like $2,000, I'm walking out that damn store. If this photo of Kilmar's hand is real, then so the fuck is this one. And I'ma just leave that right there. Welcome back to the Pragmotiv Podcast, where every week we tell it like it is and get you motivated to be the change you seek. We're your hosts, Trey.
And Steph.
It's Kameron. And welcome back to, welcome to episode 6. Not welcome back to episode 6. Oh, y'all. Today's theme is you reap what you sow. So, I know this is not our normal upload day. Y'all probably are wondering where the hell was they? So we have been doing a lot of work behind the scenes here at Pragmotiv. Right. And we are running on a total new system, technology. Like everything is different behind the scenes. Y'all probably know a little the new graphics. Where am I? Because I'm inverted. Down here. So it took us a little longer than we had anticipated. Like, I don't know why we thought we could do all of this in a week.
Totally changed, but
we changed everything, and it took a little longer. So we are what? We are.
I'm patting us on the shoulder.
Oh, I thought she was telling me something was wrong with my shirt.
No,
we are live at this point.
Right, we are all the way live.
So there's no editing any mistakes. So
what you see is what
you're really going to get it all at this point.
What you see.
All right. So we do have a really huge show for y'all, of course, since we've been gone an extra few days. Today we will be unpacking Trump versus Elon and why no one was surprised that happened. Who really punched Elon in the eye? And why the Republicans deserve to be right in the middle of this mess that they made. Do they side with the money or the mouth?
They gonna side with the money.
Oh boy. So let's see. What will this mean for the GOP and for the rest of the country? We're also going to be covering what is going on in Los Angeles right now, and discussing how did we get here as a country. Plus, we will discuss how the Trump administration is discriminating against black men by trying to kick them out of the Marines for a skin condition that they can't control. Oh, and MAGA says they're coming for grandma's Medicare. So, as you can see, we got a lot to get to. Also, I'm going to add this because this is not on the cards, because right before we sat down to record today, it was breaking news about Senator Alex Padilla out of California. Mm-hmm. So we're also going to be talking about that. So y'all know all of that's coming up in the briefing room. So without further ado, let's get to it.
Let's go.
So starting off first, we're talking about Trump and Elon duking it out publicly. What the hell was that?
What was expected?
So they're no longer lovers. I mean brothers.
You knew it was coming to that.
So here,
Elon, we're over.
I mean, I know we all was sitting here enjoying it. Like everybody had the popcorn emojis, and all of the memes were just
all the memes was
hilarious.
Yeah, they was hilarious. But it is sad too. At the same time,
it is. It's like it really is. I would say a national embarrassment, but it really is a global embarrassment.
Right. Yeah.
And that's like a term you don't really hear often.
Right.
I don't really hear people say, "Oh, you're a global embarrassment."
Once again, the United States is the laughing stock of the world.
Because of him.
Well, guys, we have a video for y'all before the shit hit the fan.
Yeah.
Here's Elon and Trump in the Oval.
But again, Elon gave an incredible service. Nobody like him. And he had to go through the slings and the arrows, which is a shame because he's an incredible patriot. The good news is that 90% of the country knows that, and they appreciate it, and they really appreciate what he did. And I gave him a little special something we have here.
Thank you.
A very special that I give to very special people. I have given it to some, but it goes to very special people, and I thought I'd give it to Elon as a presentation from our country.
So, do y'all think he gonna take back his little special, very special?
I think Elon probably put that thing in the trash somewhere.
Like, what the hell, y'all?
Gaudy ass gold.
I mean, it was a mess. So,
To say the least, it was a mess.
So according to Axios, Elon was butthurt. Elon Musk blasted President Trump's legacy legislation Tuesday, casting it as a bloated mess. But two sources who have spoken to Musk say he was frustrated at failing to win favorable treatment in the bill and the administration at large. I mean, how much more favorable can you get?
No.
All of those contracts, the billions in contracts for multiple companies that this man owns. I mean, what else do you want, Elon?
So also, what was with the black eye?
Right?
Yeah.
So
Well, they say his son. What's his son's name? X?
I don't even know how to pronounce his son's name.
It's longer than X, but that's his nickname.
So did they have the falling out before the key? So that's what I thought. I was like,
find out.
I was like, did Trump punch him in the eye? So Elon
Donald Trump
says
can't
that
throw no punch. He toppled over like a sack of potatoes, just like how he looked.
I don't think Trump punched him, and I don't think his son punched him.
So he said, that's what he said. So Elon said that his son punched him, but we all know it wasn't his son because if his son was gonna punch anybody, it would have been Trump. I mean, did y'all see that video?
Yeah, we.
You are not the president. Shut the fuck up. Oh, we need to have that one on.
That's really what he said.
Yeah.
I saw the video, but I didn't know he told him to shut
in
the F up.
In the world of AI, you would think that was AI, but
AI.
no,
that
was
real.
like the hot
that
mic
was
that they
real.
caught. It was fucking funny. So,
And you could tell just by the look on his face, he was mad.
Oh yeah,
of course he was.
he was livid.
But I want to know what Musk got on Trump because Trump wouldn't have let nobody else kid come in there and do that.
Nope.
Well, at the time, I think, before the feud, everything was ramping up at that point. It was just little things, and it became like the straw that broke the camel's back. But I think that was before the straw. So what does Trump respect? Money and power.
Mm-hmm.
So Elon has money, so that's why he let him get away, or let his child get away with that.
So this article by the Washington Post was interesting because it quotes 17 anonymous staff who said Musk was pissing people off with those justify your existence emails. They went to some people that they never should have gone to, including judges. So,
I
Yeah.
was laughing.
Judges.
How you gonna make a judge justify their existence?
Right. A judge is not even under the control or the purview of the executive
How about,
branch.
sucker, you
That's a
justify
co-equal
your
branch.
existence?
mm-hmm.
How about that?
So the Washington Post says, but although the break between Musk and Trump only exploded into public view on Thursday, cracks in the alliance began to appear much earlier as Musk's move fast and break things bravado complicated the White House's ambitions to remake American society. The billionaire alienated key members of the White House staff, including Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, and quarreled with cabinet members, physically coming to blows with one. So that's where he got the black eye.
I think that's where he got the black eye.
So he had a fight with the Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent.
Right.
And they said he just didn't seem to know how the federal government worked and or didn't have the ability to maneuver around it.
Right.
Nah, him not
like
being
a bull in a china shop, just
a Native American, born here, he probably wouldn't know.
yeah, but he's a naturalized American.
Well, he didn't do
He
his
didn't study
civics.
good enough. He didn't study good enough.
I don't have no sympathy for him, and there's no excuse. If you're gonna take up a position in the federal government, then it's your business to learn how the fuck it works.
Yeah.
And I just think that is the starting point.
That's the lowest
Yeah.
bar
That's
that ever
point eight.
barred.
Yeah, but Trump and Elon just, it's those two massive egos. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Did anybody
was
think
like-
that was gonna work?
No, I couldn't believe they was acquaintances, friends, whatever you want to call them, as long as they were.
But remember,
With benefits.
Donald Trump is transactional. So it's all about what can you do for me? What have you done for me lately?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Donald Trump would
You
be the
said
That was a
person.
transaction.
He would be the
scratch your-
person. Well, would it must have been 300 million or was it 200? I don't remember.
I don't remember
but it was
the
somewhat
exact
up
number,
there.
but it's way up there.
So that would be something Trump would be like, that still wasn't enough. All right, so the next thing is Trump versus Elon. How ugly can it really get? So
we
why
saw
does
those tweets and those.
why does them
Whatever
going
you call it
scorched
on Truth
earth
Social.
mean? What does them going scorched earth mean for us and mean for them and the country, like the rest of us? So, for Elon, he could take his millions from the GOP and fund the Democrats. I don't see that.
We don't want him.
Could he release Trump's info? I mean, he do have all our social security numbers. We're gonna talk about that later.
Yeah.
He threatened to decommission SpaceX, and that transports. He threatened to decommission the SpaceX ship that transports
That's
supplies
how they get the
and
stuff to the
people
space station.
to and from the space station. So what can Trump do to Elon? He has already threatened to take away government contracts, but there's really not another company that can do what NASA needs done, which we talked about that
Right.
in one of the other episodes about how you've had administration after administration given all of the money that should go into NASA, and it's not just on the presidents, because it's on Congress too, because
Right.
they
It's definitely on
appropriate.
Congress.
So you're giving all the money to private companies. Now you have one private company that holds all the cards.
Right.
Let's see
So
what else.
congratulations.
What
You
can he
played
really
yourself.
do to Elon besides,
He
take
could
away the
refuse
contract?
to greenlight Tesla's self-driving car.
Yeah.
Please.
Please do.
I ain't ready for that shit. I don't want the Waymo cars out there.
Yeah, I'm glad those things are not in Louisiana.
Oh, they coming. They said they're gonna
Where?
be in New Orleans
know you
in a few
fucking
weeks.
lying.
And they coming to Houston.
Haven't those
Houston.
things been having a lot of accidents?
Uh-huh. Imagine Waymo on 45.
I'm all good with self-driving cars, but it needs to have some kind of human intervention or supervision.
That technology hasn't finished baking yet.
Yeah,
needs
it's
more.
lopsided.
It needs more.
Musk's other company, XAI, needs government approval too.
Mm-hmm.
And Trump's DOJ SEC could reopen the investigation it squashed. Well, it should have never squashed it.
Right.
No.
That was unethical. And
And
what
then-
about Neuralink? Do they have contracts?
I don't know. That's the brain thing.
Yeah, that's the brain thing.
Him and brain. And then NHTSA.
A brain company when he don't have one.
NHTSA is also investigating Tesla's crashes,
Right.
which, of course,
I mean, how many crashes have they had? We talking about Waymo. What about Tesla?
So according to Washington Post, Republicans are not going to be swayed by Musk to oppose the bill just because he has broken with Trump and criticized it. Musk has no pull with normal voters. The only difference it will make is if Musk is willing to spend a lot of money against Republicans who vote for it. Which is not out of the question for Elon Musk because
No,
he's
there's
just
no
as
loyalty.
petty
Just as
Yeah.
bad.
as Donald
But
Trump.
I just want to caution the Democrats and the average voters.
Yeah. Oh, wait, I wasn't finished with the article. So
Oh, yeah.
it
I'ma
also
say that
says,
after.
does this feud signal a broader rift between Trump and Silicon Valley? And if so, is that harmful? The coalition between the venture capitalists, artificial intelligence, and cryptocurrency set and the MAGA movement was notable in the election. Quote, I think a lot of tech bros will stick with Trump because they want lower taxes and less regulation, and they'll get that. Musk is going to be all alone in his spaceship.
Yeah, they're going to get their tax break because he's trying to ram that bill through.
Well, the tax breaks ain't going to help you if there's no economy for you
There you go.
to sell your fucking products.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not rocket
That's
science.
some real short-sighted thinking on their part.
Uh-huh. It ain't rocket science for you to understand that if the masses don't have the money to buy your
Then
damn
all
products,
these products and services
then they just
that you're
gonna sit
selling,
on the damn shelf.
right?
I mean, I went this past week, like we was talking about the technology, which I hope we didn't just mess up stuff because we're not supposed to. We was told we can't talk in between the scenes no more when I'm reading stuff and what we doing.
Talking in between the scenes.
But we was in Best Buy, we was picking up the equipment we needed to make this transition, and I noticed that they got electronic price tags. And to me, I'm like, what the hell is this? So the
see
tariffs is so whiplashy that y'all gotta change the prices in
Oh,
real
that's
time.
1,000 now when it was 100.
Let's hope
I
things not
swear.
going to swing that far.
I swear if I'm looking at like a TV and it says $1,100 and that shit go up to like $2,000,
By
I'm
the time
walking
you get
out
to
that
the
damn
register-
store. Oh, no, I didn't even think about that. Well, it changed between the time you walked it from the back to the front.
I mean, that's literally what they could do.
This is crazy. And y'all don't want regulation.
Nah. Ain't that a bit?
But
Now,
you know-
this isn't the first time I saw it. I did see the those electronic price tags on Whole Foods shelves like 2 years ago.
Those electronic price tags about to be everywhere. Because those prices going through the roof. We haven't begun to feel the effects of those tariffs.
But before we move on, I wanted to say one thing about Elon. Don't fall for his BS. Please. Just because he may start opposing Trump because he's mad at him, don't accept him into the Democratic
Yeah, it
Party.
doesn't
Don't
mean
take no
he's an
money
ally.
from him. He's not an ally because as fast as he turns on Trump, he can turn on us. And don't forget everything that he has already done to completely and utterly fuck over Americans. Don't let him ever forget that. Don't let him ever move on from that. He is not our friend.
Nope. And Trump is already making him kiss his ass. You know, he's already come out with his little, I regret those tweets that I made and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
'Cause
What is he saying?
Everybody was
That was
up in
the day I
arms
was
of
tripping off that K.
that. It gotta be
I was tripping balls.
the shrooms.
Look, who looks at a mushroom and says, yeah, I think I'm going to take that? That's some nasty shit.
I don't think they doing it for
That's
the
a
taste.
throwback from the 70s, y'all.
Ew, it's a mushroom. I can't.
All right. So the true story behind Tesla and why Elon Musk is not a genius.
Yeah, everybody says he's a genius, but no, he's just a businessman.
So, like I just said, Musk is not a genius. He is just a successful businessman.
The only thing I could see Elon Musk building is that damn Cybertruck. That's the only thing.
And the reason why I put businessman in quotes is because a lot of people respect businessmen like Elon Musk. But there's true businessmen out here who really build their companies from the ground up, value their employees. And what he has done to Twitter shows that he has no value for employees.
No.
You don't do, and what he's done with DOGE, you don't value employees by telling them, tell me why you're worth it every week.
Justify your existence.
Yeah. What you should be doing is you could analyze your employees' work.
Right. And critique.
But you need to be driving the vision as the person in charge. And that's how you determine if a certain department is needed. Does this department match the vision that you're trying to take the company? So it's just presumptuous in and of itself for you to be asking people who work for you to do your job, but you're making billions.
No.
And then you paying them pennies.
Yeah, well, my thoughts on that is that whole thing was because they're just flexing. They're doing it because they can. And it's not about waste and fraud and abuse and all of that. It's just about eliminating enough to get the money for the tax breaks that they want to give.
And it's just small man syndrome. They like the power.
But the biggest thing with it is that is Project 2025 to a T.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
They said what they was gonna do, and they've been doing it.
They are using all of this other stuff like the bill and all of that to justify it.
Mm-hmm.
But what they really are doing is getting rid of people who's not going to be sycophants to Trump.
And I give it to Trump and his whole team. They have really impressed me because I did not think that they could stick to a plan.
Well, why? Because I did. Because it's not him per se. It's Heritage Foundation. It's America First PAC. It's the people. It's the think tanks that were the architects of Project 2025 who are helping them implement this. This is not Trump. He's just the mouthpiece.
Just
and
the first
face
time
of
around, it seemed like everything they tried to do, you could tell the intention behind it was bad, but it seemed like every move they made, they shoestrings was tied together. This time they seem to be moving. They are, but they moving better.
Yeah.
So I guess you live and you learn even when you're doing evil
stuff.
Yeah.
and ungodly things. So getting back to Musk, he didn't even found Tesla, y'all. And I don't think a lot of people realize this. So Tesla was started in 2003 by two men who named the company after Serbian American inventor
Nikola Tesla.
Nikola Tesla. So Musk invested $6.5 million in Tesla in 2004 and became its largest shareholder and then its CEO in 2008.
Right. And he holds dual bachelor's degrees in physics and economics, which those two things apart. Let's be real. We said we was keeping it real. I mean, that's no slouch to have, degrees in physics and economics. He does have an MBA from Wharton. And in the 90s, early 2000s, he and his brother Kimball, and a man whose last name is Kouri, Kouri, they founded a company they called Zip2. And it got angel investor funding and eventually got bought by Compaq. Remember the computer company Compaq? Compaq bought it for $300 million. So the first company he and his brother came up with, it was like it was a way for companies to be online, to have a presence online before the whole, everybody had to have a website thing. And so because we're talking late, we're talking during the 90s. And so they took the money that they got from the sale from when Compaq bought Zip2. Elon got $22 million and Kimball got $15 million. And then Elon founded X.com, which was an online payment company. And that eventually merged until it became PayPal. And then when PayPal was bought, he got $180 million. And that's what he took and started SpaceX. And he invested $70 million in Tesla. And like you were saying, eventually became Tesla's CEO.
Just to lose tens of how much money has he lost with all of this shit this year?
Hundreds of millions of dollars with all of this stuff.
Like
And that's why,
billion,
and that's
probably.
one of the things, that he was upset about. Because I'm sure he was hearing it from the board.
Why don't y'all just fire him?
Because he controls the voting shares.
Well,
And do we have the slide of the founders of Tesla? So there they go.
That's who really founded Tesla. So all y'all who out there who think that Musk is some genius who founded this great electric car company, he did not.
No,
all he did
that's
was
the
invest
people
in it.
who founded Tesla.
Right.
So, why this feud was inevitable? So, as we all know, that this breakup and this rift between these two was going to happen. Why do we know that? Well, their personalities, their massive egos, like we talked about. Trump demanding the loyalty, and Musk has a demeanor that is described by those who have been around him as, quote, odious. I don't think I ever heard that word before. So, in other words, this motherfucker got a funky attitude.
All of his employees, they talk about that at the various companies that he owned.
And I
They
could
say
imagine
that he, so I mean, that was just like a clash waiting to happen.
especially with those
people
revelations that was in the New York Times about his alleged drug use.
Yeah.
people thought Steve Jobs was bad. Oh no, this motherfucker is 10 times worse.
Yeah, and if he's on ketamine and all of the other stuff that article talked about, you could see why his personality is so volatile. And then when you mix that with Trump, and then he's pissing off the people that's closest to Trump, that's actually, because the chief of staff is a real powerful position in any presidency.
Yeah.
So if you pissing off the chief of staff,
Yeah.
While being a pissy bitch.
your days are numbered.
So The Guardian had an article titled "The Inevitable Trump-Musk Feud is Finally Here and It's Pathetic." Quote, "It was bound to be something. Trump, after all, is not known for his ability to maintain cordial alliances, not even with those who have been as useful as Musk has been. Trump's first term, to say nothing of his pre-presidency career, was marked by soured alliances, public remonstrances against one-time partners, and brief disastrous tenures by employees and advisors who quickly left angry. Musk, meanwhile, is known for his uncommonly odious personality, a management style that is euphemistically called mercurial, and his own increasingly erratic behavior, which includes clashes with a harem of women bearing his children."
They said a harem of women. So I guess he do really have a harem of women. How many children does he have? I don't even know.
Well, it ain't
It's
more
more
than Nick
than Nick.
Cannon.
I think it is.
Oh, if it is, then he really is a man-hole. Yes, y'all. Men can be hoes. It ain't just women. Men can be hoes. So people stop saying women are hoes. They're not. It's the men. It's really the men. It has always been the men.
But for real though, I mean, we know how Trump gets when people outshine him and overshadow him. And Musk, with DOGE and everything they was doing, he was getting a lot of press. And think back to the first administration.
With Steve Bannon.
Yeah.
So what I don't understand is...
And with other people who got more press and who were in the limelight.
Yeah.
He everybody, including his niece, says he's a narcissist. So what happens when a narcissist is not getting the attention?
But when Trump lashes out at you because you got more attention than him, and then you part ways or you have a clash with him, you get kicked out. Why do these people still come to his defense and do his bidding like Steve Bannon? Like, what is it? Why
Because-
y'all worshiping him like he's some type of god?
I think it's a few things. First of all, some do worship him like like he's a god. It is a cult at this point for some people, and for other people, it's transactional. He's delivering because he's like a vacuum, I guess. You could think of it like he's a Pied Piper that's leading the people that they want. He's galvanizing their movement to usher this country to where they want it to go. So they put up with that because they're getting what they want.
Well, that's it for the Trump Musk drama, y'all.
To be continued.
So
'Cause
now
you know they're gonna be more.
I know it ain't over, especially now. So
It ain't over.
because
till-
Trump is not gonna forget this. Trust me, he is not gonna forget that shit.
Elon tried to make up, remember, and he said he don't really have nothing to say, and then he came back and said, "Well, I guess I could forgive him," or something to that effect. But once you cross somebody like Trump, you're not ever gonna get back to where you was.
You gonna forgive your ex Trumpy?
And I don't think the MAGA people gonna forgive him either. So
No,
basically,
they said
Tesla
nobody
is gonna
likes him.
yeah, Tesla, you fucked. If you got Tesla stock, or if you in a Tesla, if you upside down in that note,
Ooh,
You ain't
I
gonna
feel
get
for
y'all
you.
got my prayers. All right, so
But if you got a Tesla and you voted for Trump, then I love it for you.
all right, so now it's time for our weekly segment, The Briefing Room, where we cover the week's news. And this week, unfortunately, it is packed. So we are starting off with Trump's latest mess, the dangerous chaos that he has created in Los Angeles. So it's been an ongoing thing. One of the perks, I guess, of us having this, having to switch to this new tech and being a little delayed is that we get to cover this. Whereas if we had, produced this show the way we had been producing it, we would have been behind all of this. So I'm glad that we're able to talk about it while it's happening. So go ahead on and we're going to play what Governor Gavin Newsom had to say about this.
Yeah, it's upsetting. This whole thing.
When a clothing company was raided downtown. In other actions, a U.S. citizen, 9 months pregnant, was arrested. A 4-year-old girl taken. Families separated. Friends, quite literally, disappearing. In response, everyday Angelenos came out to exercise their constitutional right to free speech and assembly, to protest their government's actions. In turn, the state of California and the city and county of Los Angeles sent our police officers to help keep the peace. And with some exceptions, they were successful. Like many states, California is no stranger to this sort of unrest. We manage it regularly and with our own law enforcement. But this, again, was different. What then ensued was a use of tear gas, flashbang grenades, rubber bullets, federal agents detaining people and undermining their due process rights. Donald Trump, without consulting California law enforcement leaders, commandeered 2,000 of our state's National Guard members to deploy on our streets, illegally and for no reason. This brazen abuse of power by a sitting president inflamed a combustible situation.
Okay. We got a little bit of technical difficulties there with the
Video.
clip, but let's see.
We told y'all it was live.
We getting there, y'all. So we got let's see. Next. Okay, so that's what the governor had to say about it
Right.
Now we have some footage from a reporter getting shot by a cop. Now this is really what pissed us off.
After hours of standing off, this situation has now rapidly deteriorated. The LAPD moving in on horseback, firing rubber bullets at protesters, moving them on through the heart of LA. You just shut the fuck up.
You okay?
I'm good. Are you okay? Where?
I mean, he turned.
You can't tell me he didn't see that
He
microphone
turned.
in that woman's hand.
But it doesn't even matter
Knew.
about the microphone. Like, you turned to shoot at her. For what?
Her
Because he
back was
can.
to you.
She wasn't doing nothing.
This is what they're doing now. What kinds of people have they hired? Or what kinds of people were already there that feel so emboldened now because of Trump and the Congress and the types of things that they have been saying and doing? It's like we're devolving. We've sunk a little bit lower, well, a lot lower.
Yeah, a hell of a lot lower.
Yeah. And
But what kind
how
of person
much-
are you to want to hurt someone?
Yeah, how
like
much
that?
more are we gonna sink? That's
all of
really
these-
sadistic.
Yeah.
To actually to look at somebody and you turn your weapon, because even though it's shooting rubber bullets, it's still a weapon. And I'm sure she at least has a bruise, if not a bruised leg bone,
Yeah.
if not broken skin. She's traumatized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is completely
I remember
immoral.
from 2020. They were showing the back of this woman's leg, and it was pretty much black.
Mm-hmm.
And when these cops get together like this in these protests, they get, because they with their buddies and these big group of cops, they get mob mentality.
Yeah, I could see that happening.
And then they just they super trigger happy.
Yeah, and that's why I asked. It's like, what kind of people either have they employed for this specific purpose or are already there? Now, it's not all cops.
No.
I just want to say I have respect for police. I have always had respect for police. I don't respect police when they kill unarmed people.
Mm-hmm.
Or when they are racists who kill unarmed people. There's been some instances where police have killed unarmed people and felt really bad about it. But the other side of the other end of that pendulum is George Floyd, where you just defiantly knelt on a man till he died.
And to think that Trump wants to, or the
On
Republicans
purpose.
want him pardoned.
Yeah, but they don't care anything about those Capitol Police that was that died. Some of them took their life afterwards because they were so traumatized. The ones that were injured that can't be police anymore. Suppose that's all you ever wanted to be. Or either you decided to be that and you dedicated yourself, you put your life on the line every day to protect. And then now you can't do that. You can't provide for your family. You have a permanent disability. Some of those police officers at the Capitol on January 6th were permanently injured. But you pardoned the people that did that.
And didn't want to call in the National Guard then.
Right.
Yeah.
But you calling in the National Guard now for what amounts to 1% of the square blocks of one of the
The
largest
square miles.
cities.
Yeah. Of the second largest city in this country.
in this country.
So here's some more footage of the police failing to do their jobs and failing to protect people.
person rolling in the street.
Yeah, but you're not trying to go around that person. You're just gonna let the horse. And one of them hit him with hit that big long nightstick.
Yeah, and see the sudden burst of acceleration from the horses. They had the horses trample it.
That person is not moving.
That person is limp.
And I wish somebody would say what happened to them.
Yep.
Sadistic
And now we have
and mob mentality.
we have another video of them going after someone else in the press.
Whoa, what are you doing? Oh my God! Jesus, are you serious right now? I'm pressed! I am pressed! Stop trying to hit me with your fucking horse, you crazy lunatic! Jesus Christ! We are pressed! We are allowed to be here! We are allowed to be here! Do you not know the California state law? I don't actually, but you're... Oh my God. These horses are scared to death. They're fucking... because they're scared. They're firing ammunitions.
Ridiculous. Just ridiculous.
Utterly
It is.
ridiculous.
So there was another clip that apparently, because of technical difficulties we don't have, it must have gotten left out. But there was another clip that I really wanted to include in here, which I was watching the other night live on KCAL News, which is the local CBS station for LA. And it showed the police. They weren't doing anything. Now, they were standing in the line. I don't know like what they was protecting, or they had certain zones.
Yeah,
And
they
certain
stand in a
people-
line like that to keep the crowd back. It's like they establish a perimeter.
Yeah. So they were trying to defend this perimeter, and certain people, like of what had to be anarchists, was in the back of the peaceful protesters, and they started throwing fireworks at the police. So this is another example of why we see these cops obviously behaving really badly. And whoever is in charge of them needs to be taking them to task on this, you know. But it also goes to the other end of who are these people throwing fireworks at these cops? Like, you could blow their arms off. Like, fireworks are dangerous.
Yeah.
So it's a bad situation, and all of this was fanned, like the governor says, by the president.
Yeah, and let me say this. Every time the masses rise up against what is injustice and try to exercise their constitutional right to protest, because first, America is already great. And one of the things that makes America great is that we do have the freedom to address our government and bring our grievances to our government, supposed to be without fear of reprisal or without fear of retaliation for dissent.
Yeah.
But every time the masses rise up and go to the streets to voice their displeasure at whatever is going on, be it the killing of unarmed people, be it when they had the Women's March, whatever, you have people. There is an element in this country that wants anarchy. And they come to these protests and they do things they showed it during the Black Lives Matter protests in 2020. Where these people, the vandalism you saw.
Yeah.
Exactly. The looting. That's a separate thing, but they're doing some of that too. But then you do have opportunists who look at it as a way, I'm going to get me some shit.
Yeah.
You know?
And it doesn't help.
So it's not because what it does, it gives people like the people who are in charge of this country now the excuse to do what they did.
Yeah.
And so there's this weekend, there's mass protests. There's over 1,800 protests planned for that orange dude's birthday. And
And it's opposite his little military parade.
Yeah.
I hope nobody show up to that bitch.
It is Obama
But
Appreciation Day.
No,
His
but-
birthday.
But so you have these anarchists, and they come out, and that's who was doing that stuff to the police.
And it doesn't help that the mainstream media has
Don't
decided.
report on it.
Well, it's not just that they don't report on it. What have they chosen to report on? That LA is under siege.
Yeah.
This huge
And it's not
city.
just the mainstream media. I saw it all over YouTube. People are taking the opportunity to report on this. LA is falling. No, it's not.
No. And if
I'm sure
when
the
you do
people
that,
in
you report
Hidden
that
Hills-
people, these anarchists
People,
from around the
they're
country,
elevated.
they're gonna fly into LAX and they're gonna get their ass off these planes. They're gonna drive their cars into the city and they're gonna go there and start doing shit like throwing fireworks at the cops. You can't tell me this was the peaceful protesters because it's like night and day from
No,
the
it wasn't the
protests they were
peaceful
showing
protesters.
earlier.
And I'll
could
go you
see-
one better. I'm sorry. I'll go you one better. I believe, and this is my opinion, that they are being paid to do that.
Yeah. I wouldn't put it past him. Because anything he
Accuse us of doing.
accused us of doing is what he does.
It's called
It's
projection.
Projection. And so he probably paying them people.
Yeah, not he necessarily,
Not
them.
just him, just
Yeah.
them in general.
Because
Yeah.
they want this. They want confrontation so that they can do these types
is
of things,
on
like
their
send in the
roadmap.
National Guard when it's not
He
needed
wants-
or asked for.
Trump wants to declare martial law. He wants to stay as president. Like, let's not beat around the bush. He wants to fucking stay as president.
Remember when they accused Barack Obama? He's going to declare Sharia law.
First of all, that's not a clause in any document.
Well, of course, he was a Muslim, Cameron, don't you know?
So
And if he was, so, I mean, that wouldn't have been bad, but it was a bad thing to them. You know what I mean?
yeah. So Gavin Newsom also sat down with Brian Tyler Cohen, and he had this message for Donald Trump.
Wants to exacerbate the problems. He completely colored them in. He overstated everything. He knowingly went in a reckless way, did something that's almost without precedent in our lifetime. Unconstitutional, illegal, immoral, because he knew full well what would persist on the ground. His team knows that as well. And that's exactly what this is all about. This is Trump's mess. He created it. He knew full well what would happen if he did this. He offered no support, no counsel, no advice, no other consideration. He just acted in an immature manner in order to create the kind of problems that people are now witnessing on the streets.
Yeah, he's absolutely right.
Right. I agree.
And people on the left have had their problems with Gavin Newsom.
Right.
But
Nobody's perfect.
you have to admit that he is rising to this occasion.
He's on it.
And he is doing what he needs to be doing as the governor of his state. He's standing up for his people, and kudos to him. So, like we mentioned at the top of the show, right as we were sitting down to record today's show, Senator Alex Padilla was forcibly thrown out of a press conference by Kristi Noem in the Trump administration in the most un-American show of force, because he was asking a question.
Right.
Now, first of all, if y'all would answer questions in the first place, then maybe he wouldn't have to resort to asking you the questions in a live press conference.
No.
But you think that you aren't accountable. And it's up to the people in this country to stand up and show these
Right.
people who they work for. They work for us.
Yep.
You elect them, you unelect them. Until we collectively start to remind them of that, they're going to continue to behave this way.
Yeah.
It's going to get worse.
And that goes for any politician.
So y'all
Show them just who the fuck they work for.
Yeah. So
and
y'all
how
take
do
a
you do
look-
that? You freaking vote.
Vote.
Yeah.
I'm really upset today by this.
Yeah. So y'all take a look at the video and see what they did to Senator Padilla.
Hands up.
Also, I want to
I'm
talk
Senator Alex
specifically
Padilla. I have
to
questions
the
for
rioters and
the
to
Secretary.
politicians.
Because the fact of the matter is, a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your
I also want to talk about specifically how many of our ICE agents have been doxxed for doing their duty.
So then she had the nerve to take her ass.
First of all, the plastic witch lied.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. She had the nerve to go lie.
That fucking
And say
She
he
ran
didn't.
her ass to Fox News at 3:00 and got on their show and lied through her teeth saying he didn't identify himself.
fucking guard
Yes,
gnome
the
looking
fuck he
ass
So
bitch.
did y'all hear him identify himself? He said.
Senator Alex Padilla.
They didn't
Nah,
know who
bitch.
he was.
And what?
Yeah, you should know. Just like she didn't know what habeas corpus was.
But you over Homeland
Did y'all
Security?
see that video?
No.
She was in front of Congress, and one of the congressional members asked her, Secretary Nome, what is habeas corpus? And she said, habeas corpus is the right of the president to remove people from the country that are here illegally. And the congressional member, I don't know which, that was Hassan was her last name.
Maggie
she said,
Hassan?
yeah, she said, excuse me, Secretary, ma'am, excuse me, that is incorrect. That is not what habeas corpus is. And if you're going to be a cabinet level person, if you were in Congress before and she not only didn't she know what habeas corpus was, she spoke very ill of Karen Bass on one of those shows. I think it was,
They keep
I don't watch
attacking
Fox News, but
Karen
it
Bass.
was on wherever it was that I was. And she served at the same time that Karen Bass served in Congress. And she spoke very bad about Karen Bass. And Karen Bass is a competent mayor.
They keep talking bad about her, and I can't help but see the parallels that every time it's a black mayor, specifically a black female mayor, this is what the narrative is. They're incompetent. They can't manage their cities.
They're talking bad about Brandon, the mayor of Chicago. They did about Ras Baraka, the mayor of New York. Every time it's a black mayor, wait till they get out. I mean, I haven't heard what they've said, but I'm sure they've said some stuff about Wes Moore, the governor of Maryland.
So it really is ridiculous. They never respect the positions, but then they want to gaslight us and tell us, well, racism has been over. You perpetuate it every day.
Lying sacks of shit. So, and that bitch gnome is a garden gnome full of shit.
Oh, man. You done just fucked me up now.
Cameron crashing out.
I ain't
sick
gonna
of
be
them.
able
I'm
to
so
Gnome.
sick of them bitches.
I don't like gnomes. She looks so plastic, like a Barbie doll, like artificial.
all them. Look at all them Republicans. They all got fucking Botox. Look at Matt Gaetz at the RNC convention. That bitch was red and bloated. Looked like a fucking Botox filled tomato. I'm sick of all their asses.
So Senator Padilla said in response that if they treat a sitting senator like this, imagine how
What they gonna do
they
to
are
us?
treating farm workers, cooks, day laborers, and the people who they are arresting.
Right.
And we can only imagine what they're doing. I mean, they don't have cameras there.
No, and
they
they
don't
won't
have
let
that
them.
stature.
They won't let them into the facilities where they're holding these people, and it's like they've indicted LaMonica McIver,
Yeah,
and she was the one that was roughed up in Newark.
exactly.
And then I remember reports from when the bitch was last president. The last time he was president. When he was putting them kids in cages, the conditions in there wasn't good.
Some of those kids died.
Uh-huh.
Yep. So what we
But
have
you don't hear
to
nothing about that.
no.
And people just have forgotten about it.
And what we got to remember is, people, they always have this, well, it's not me mentality. Oh, well, he's just going after the criminals. He's going to deport the criminals. And then he moved to now he's just deporting other people who, are citizens.
But I have a question for the people who
they're coming
voted
for
him.
you next.
Is this what you voted for? Latinos for Trump. Is this what you?
I don't know how credible it is, so don't take it with a grain of salt. I don't know how true it is, but apparently he got detained by the leaders of Latinos for Trump. The leader of Latinos for Trump.
I thought that I read something that said, I don't know if it was that exact person, but I read something where he was deported.
5-0, bitch.
So
I think that they did that to Senator Padilla because he's Hispanic. Because he's Senator Padilla, and he got brown skin.
yeah. So
Because they wouldn't let the Newark mayor in, LaMonica McIver, but there was some white members of Congress that went to visit a ICE facility, and they were let in with no problem.
Nah.
So it seems to me like there's a pattern in practice here.
Yep. But my message to everybody is you're going to be next. You may not think that you are. And you may think, well, they're just coming after the people who are talking bad about them or causing trouble for them. That's today. But tomorrow they're going to be coming after you for just doing the things you do normally. For just going to the store or just going to the movies, just going to hang out on Saturday for brunch.
It's going to be some other group that they're going to decide is the next problem.
Our very way of living in this country is very much
you
under
should
attack.
be outraged just because they're going after people for saying something about them.
Exactly.
Like it's not lost on us the amount of danger we're putting ourselves in by even having this podcast,
Right.
and talking the kind of shit we're talking. But y'all should be upset at people getting fucked over by him.
Where's the libertarians at? Where's the don't tread on me crowd?
Yeah.
Where's
'Cause
the
this
give
show
me
ain't
liberty or
freedom.
death? This is not
ain't
liberty.
freedom.
If you got to worry about being retaliated against because you said, and this is real. I mean, we decided to do this podcast because we felt the need to do it because we felt like there was a voice that was needed.
Yeah.
And
voice
now
of reason.
this is real that we have to consider. And we have had many talks about, well, what could happen to us, or what could people target us, and what are we going to do if that happens?
Yeah.
We shouldn't have to worry about that.
And I talked about this on my channel. Because, I was a person, this is not my identity, dealing with politics or talking about politics constantly.
Yeah.
I was just a regular guy. I did do my civic duty. I did go and vote, and I did educate
We all
myself.
did, because that's how I brought my sons up.
Yeah, on what I was going to vote for, and made sure that I was, up to date on everything that was going on. But I didn't go around advertising that. Like, if you saw me in the store, I wasn't going to be like, did you see what's the latest going on in politics? That wasn't me. But I felt so compelled to do this because obviously something is wrong when you have these kind of things going on in the country that my ancestors built, fought for. My grandfathers served this nation, and they didn't fight for me to be silenced, to not have a voice. So I couldn't live with myself if I just quietly kept being the person that I was and not speaking up for what's right. I mean, this is about morality, just like we was talking about with that cop shooting that reporter. Like, why would you do that? Why would you want to hurt someone? So I have the same empathy and compassion and outrage for him shooting her that I did for those anarchists throwing those fireworks in the crowd of police.
Yeah.
It maddens me and it makes me so upset that people just easily want to hurt other people.
And then people would say, well, look at what the police was doing. But two wrongs do not make a right.
And no, and you don't know that it's not like, okay, that group of cops most likely was not the same group of cops doing what happened earlier in the day. So it's not like
everybody
you
just
two
need
wrongs
to
don't
take
make right.
a chill pill.
I think about y'all's grandfather, both of them, but I think about my daddy, a second lieutenant with the 82nd Airborne in Korea. He would be outraged that you have the military on the streets of an American city.
Yeah. And, you know, to the people who have followed me over from my channel to this channel, it just shows how much integrity means to me, because I sat in my confessional shot and I held the flag in my lap that draped his casket and told y'all that I was going to do something. And at that point, I had no idea what I was going to do, but I knew I was going to do something. And it turns out that this is what I was going to do. So,
and some people had the nerve to comment and say, well, it's not going to be that bad. Well, what do you call
not that bad?
Yeah.
Who said that?
Some idiot in the comments.
These people. I don't spend a lot of time in my comments, so for the haters, just know you're being thoroughly ignored.
Okay, I'm sorry. It took me a minute to catch up. You talking about when you did your confessional?
Yeah.
Someone in the comments said when he gets now that he's reelected, it's not going to be that bad.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that person sees this video.
Are you deported?
Are you paying attention?
Are you deported?
It is.
Are you starving?
That bad?
Did you get hit with a rubber bullet? Well, no, your ass wouldn't have been at the protest.
Yeah. I had forgot about that, Cameron.
Sometimes I'll go look.
I know you look, and I do look at the comments, but once it's hate,
YouTube's algorithm
in one
is
end
the
out the
only
other.
thing that stops me from clapping back at y'all ass. Because I ain't gonna just turn the other cheek. If I see some shit and feel like I won't respond, if I do, you won't be happy for the rest of the day. Just know.
All right, we got to move on. So the next thing we got to talk about, more depressing news. Apparently, the Supreme Court decided that it was a good idea to give DOGE access to sensitive Social Security data. According to CNN, the Supreme Court restores DOGE's access to sensitive Social Security data and says it doesn't have to turn over documents. The Supreme Court handed the Department of Government Efficiency a pair of significant wins on Friday, allowing the entity to access sensitive Social Security data for millions of Americans while simultaneously pausing an effort to look into whether it is subject to a key transparency law. The decision in the Social Security case will hand DOGE staffers the highly sensitive data of millions of Americans, Jackson wrote in her dissent. She warned of grave privacy risks for millions of Americans. The article continues, while the appeals court considers whether DOGE is violating the law, its operatives will have God-level access to Social Security numbers, earnings records, bank routing numbers, mental and reproductive health records, and much more, said Kathleen Romick, who was a senior advisor at the agency during the Biden administration. So what I take issue with, partially in the way that the media has been reporting this, which I know this is becoming a running thing with me, about the media,
But
but
that's because they dropping the ball.
they just ain't doing their job right to me.
The news ain't newsing.
People just don't understand when they say sensitive data. We're so desensitized to that because this government, Republicans and Democrats alike, have failed to protect Americans' information because my information has been leaked so many times. If I had $1 for every damn letter I've gotten offering me free credit monitoring.
Right. Like, what that's going to do?
So, and then a side note that's a pet peeve of mine is why can't I stack these free credit monitorings to get, like, you if I get leaked five times in a year, you just giving me the same year. I should have 5 years of fucking monitoring. But anyway, y'all not saying that they have access to our social security numbers. Like, people aren't making that correlation. This is dangerous.
Yeah, because DOGE hasn't even been vetted. No. Like, you can't work for the government normally without you have to have security clearance. I worked a contract for the government before, and I had to pass to get a public trust security clearance to make sure that I handled people's personal information the correct way. And you giving these 20-something-year-olds who have questionable ties on the dark web,
people
calling themselves big balls.
So was that what was that Kameron's face? So was that?
I mean, this is who has access.
Calling themselves who?
One of the DOGE staffers' online persona name was Big Balls. He's like, I think, a 19 or 20, early 20s at the most.
Didn't I hear that they walked out with like backpacks full of data?
They walked out with a whole bunch of stuff.
So
they was in places that they had no business being in.
So that part of that was probably our damn social security numbers.
Like, they left this quasi-governmental agency it was created by Congress. It's a nonprofit that owned their own building. The executive branch doesn't have control of them, but they took their building over. They put the building up for sale. Good thing the court gave it back to them, but when the people finally got their building back after having to go to court to get it back, they had trash and marijuana and,
But y'all won't legalize it. Y'all won't legalize it. I want some.
But the DOGE people were the ones that were in that building and doing who knows what.
Well, so the Republicans in Congress have been busy. They're now coming for Medicare.
Yep.
Just like they did Medicaid. So according to NBC News, Senate Republicans opened the door to cutting Medicare waste, quote, waste, in Trump agenda bill. Looking at new ways to pay for their sprawling bill for Trump's domestic agenda, Republicans are exploring ideas to slash, quote, waste, fraud, and abuse in Medicare, several senators said yesterday, and Trump has blessed the pursuit, they said. I think anything that can be that's waste, fraud, and abuse are open to obviously discussions, said Majority Leader John Thune, Republican from South Dakota, told reporters.
They have really abdicated. I'm getting tongue-tied. I'm so mad. Their responsibility as congressional members, the Republicans, you're in control, but you are just rubber stamping anything that Trump wants, and you're not doing your job. You're not governing. You have control of all three branches, but you're not governing. You're tearing down.
So the next article is something that is personal to me because it pisses me off because this is something that I struggle with. The article is from NBC and it says, dermatologists say Marines' tightened shaving waiver could hurt Black members' careers. The guidance issued in March states that a diagnosis of pseudofolliculitis barbae, or PFB, a skin condition more commonly known as razor bumps or ingrown hairs, could lead to a service member's expulsion from the branch if the issue persists. The U.S. Air Force also updated its guidance on PFB earlier this year, saying shaving waivers will expire 90 days after an airman's next annual health assessment, but the requirements for those who may still qualify for a waiver remain unclear. The military as a whole began issuing these waivers in the 1970s, with the Navy taking the strongest approach in 1970 to allow the elective wearing of beards to address medical conditions. But the policies of the different branches have changed multiple times since then. The condition affects up to 60% of Black men, according to the American Osteopathic College of Dermatology, a far higher rate than for any other group. Dermatologists around the country who treat people with the condition say the latest policy change seems to be unnecessary. This is so targeted and intentional, said Chris
Adigan,
a board-certified dermatologist based in North Carolina. PFB can affect only the way hair follicles appear, said Adigan, and does not affect the body systemically in any way. So this, like I said, pisses me off because it's something that has been a huge problem for me. I touched on it when I was coming off of the anesthesia from one of my procedures in my vlog. And I watched the video back after I had published it. And I was like, what the hell was I talking about for 17 minutes? But
You
anyway.
was high as a giraffe ass. But you ain't the only one to get those ones. I got one. That's why I grew my beard out. So that you can't see them.
So for me, I still, I don't like the way my beard grows in. So I shave it and, it's painful. It's more than just unsightly. It's painful. And I've had several conversations with my dermatologist about this, and he recommends that I do laser hair removal. And I've been going back and forth between, do I follow what the doctor is telling me to do and do the laser hair removal, or do I keep doing what I'm doing, which is try to make sure I shave as soon as they start to grow, and then, keep putting the antibiotic creams and stuff he prescribed to try to keep it from really getting bad. But even right now, it's flared. So the reason I didn't want to do the laser hair removal is because I'm like, well, what if I want to grow my beard out one day? So I highly doubt that in the Marines benefit package, they're going to pay for laser hair removal. So you are trying to end their careers, but yet you're not giving them the same benefits that congressional members get. They damn sure ain't getting the same benefits that the president of the United States gets on taxpayer backs.
right? But
So-
you're making it, a condition. You're penalizing them for something that they can't control, and you're not allowing them to do what they need to do. As long as they keep it neat,
Yeah.
then why? I mean, I see police with beards, and those are pseudo military type institutions. They have dress code and grooming.
And this isn't something that you could just be like, oh well, you're in pain or whatever, just deal with it. No, like if you keep shaving this, it
because
will bleed.
I've seen very bad cases of it. And if just go look online, look up the condition, and you'll see representations of it. But it's something that Black men or men with curlier type hair
And I've
deals with.
tried all kind of remedies, natural remedies. recommendations from the doctor before I went to the dermatologist. Different razors, the straight razor, now I'm on the electric razor. It's just so much different things, and it's still the same outcome. I've tried the tea tree oil, like nothing really works for it. The regimen that I'm on now is the thing that has kept
it's not
the
a
best.
hygiene thing.
No.
Yeah.
Because if that was it, I would have remedied it a long time ago, because I'm a germaphobe and I spend too much time. I got hand sanitizer in every pocket of my car doors and I don't even ever sit in the back.
But it's just maddening, because just like that dermatologist said when you was reading the article, quote, it is laser targeted.
Yeah.
For who?
And of course, the Trump administration
head like this.
Yeah. Of course, the Trump administration would go after something that affects 60% of black people.
White people hair is straight. I don't know if your hair up here is the same texture on your beard, but up here is 4C. So yeah, I got it bad under here.
Yeah, so it's just ridiculous.
So I hope. Oh, I'm not cutting you off, huh?
No, I'm just mad for them.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it takes a lot to become a Marine. It takes a lot to become any service member, Air Force, Navy, whatever. But, I mean, you attain that, and now your career is threatened because of a condition that you can't control.
And imagine the disrespect from your country.
No.
At that point. You've devoted how much of your life to this? Just to be told that because the way your hair comes out of your skin, you're not good enough? Bye.
Yeah, just like that, the way you say Sheba Turk gets those comments about her hair. If it wasn't for the Crown Act, people would still be doing. I remember one of your daddy's players on one of his teams. He couldn't get into a certain high school in New Orleans because they wanted him to change his dreadlocks. That is part of his religion.
And the only way to change dreads is to cut them off. And I don't give a fuck what the fuck I'm trying to do. I ain't cutting my hair.
Yep. All right, so that's it for the briefing room this week. And I know that was a hell of a lot.
So now a hell of a lot going on.
Now we're moving into Warrior of the Week. So this week, y'all, we actually have 2 Warriors of the Week. So the first warrior is, of course, Governor Gavin Newsom, because he is standing up and defending democracy, even while actively being demeaned and threatened by the sitting president / dictator wannabe.
Right.
But our second warrior of the week this week is, of course, someone else who has been wronged by the vileness that spews from 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. His name is Terry Moran, and he served ABC News for over 28 years. You may have never heard of him. You may have heard of him this past week because he posted a tweet criticizing Trump and Stephen Miller. And Trump had the nerve to say in the interview, "I never heard of you," which obviously you had to have heard of him, because how else did you ask for the interview?
Every time Trump gets mad at somebody, his go-to response, like a fucking robot.
I don't know who this is.
I don't know who you are. I've never heard of you. Like, bitch, get the fuck out of here. I never heard of that animal that's on your head.
So this is the tweet that Terry Moran posted. And he said, quote, "The thing about Stephen Miller is not that he is the brains behind Trumpism. Yes, he is one of the people who conceptualizes the impulses of the Trumpist movement and translates them into policy. But that's not what's interesting about Miller. It's not brains, it's bile. Miller is a man who is richly endowed with the capacity for hatred. He's a world-class hater. You can see this just by looking at him, because you can see that his hatreds are his spiritual nourishment. He eats his hate. Trump is a world-class hater, but his hatred is only a means to an end, and that end is his own glorification. That's his spiritual nourishment. So, of course, MAGA threw its daily temper tantrum. Like clockwork, screaming into the void and pounding the table because someone hurt their fragile little feelings.
Right.
Snowflakes.
ABC and
Can't talk about the dear leader.
Nope. ABC, in a truly historic display of spinelessness, first tried to play it safe with a suspension. But no, that wasn't good enough for the MAGA rage mob. So, of course, they bent the knee, kissed the ring, and fired the man like the good little foot soldiers they are. So nothing says journalistic integrity like folding under pressure from people who get their news from memes and meltdown threads. So now the mainstream media would have you believe that Moran was fired because of that tweet, which I don't think was the case. He was actually fired, in my opinion, because of this interview back in April. Roll the clip.
When we have criminals, murderers, criminals in this country, we have to get them out, and we're doing it.
By law.
And you'll pick out one man, but even the man that you picked out, he said he wasn't a member of a gang. And then they looked, and on his knuckles, he had MS-13.
There's a dispute
Well,
over that.
Wait a minute. He had MS-13 on his knuckles tattooed.
He had some tattoos that are interpreted that way. But let's move on.
Wait a minute. Hey, Terry.
He did not have the
Don't do that.
letter MS-13.
It says MS-13.
That was Photoshop. So let me
That was Photoshop. Terry, you can't do that. Hey, they're giving you the big break of a lifetime. You know, you're doing the interview. I picked you because, frankly, I never heard of you, but that's okay. I picked you, Terry, but you're not being very nice. He had MS-13 tattooed.
We'll agree to disagree. I want to move on to something else.
Terry, do you want me to show you the picture?
I saw the picture. We'll
and you think it was Photoshop? Well,
Here we go.
Don't Photoshop it. Go look at his hand. He had MS-13.
He did have tattoos that can be interpreted that way. I'm not an expert on them. I want to turn to Ukraine, sir.
Terry,
I want to get to Ukraine.
No. He had MS as clear as you can be, not interpreted. This is why people no longer believe the news, because
when
it's
he was
fake
photographed
news.
in El Salvador, they aren't there. But let's just go on. They aren't there when he's in El Salvador.
They weren't there, but they're there now, right?
No,
but they're
in
now.
your picture.
Terry,
Ukraine, sir.
he's got MS-13 on his knuckles.
All right.
Okay?
Well, we'll take a look at that.
You do such a disservice.
We'll take a look at
Why
that,
don't you
sir.
just say, yes, he does, and, go on to something else?
I got something to say. So that's very problematic. Did you notice how all throughout the video, as Terry Moran was trying to move on, and it's obvious that anybody who saw that photo and saw the up-close photos of Kilmar or Brigo Garcia's hands in real life, a photo that was taken as recently as when his senator from his state went to visit him, there was no MS-13 on his hands. That's aside from the fact that if you look at the picture that had the MS-13 on his knuckles, it is clearly photoshopped. And he's trying to be respectful and just move on and not call the sitting president of the United States the liar that he is.
And
But
ABC should have let him do that.
You won't let it go, Trump. The man was trying to move on, and you insisted on
wanted him
bending the knee to you.
Yes.
To agree with you.
Yep.
How dare you speak the truth in my face?
Yep. And that's the problem.
That's a real problem.
If this photo of Kilmar's hand is real, then so the fuck is this one. And I'm going to just leave that right there.
Yeah.
So this is
Diaper down.
this is Kilmar's actual hand, according to many news outlets who say that they took the picture like you was just saying.
Mm-hmm.
So no, that was a Photoshop photo, and Trump, as usual,
is a lying sack of shit.
And
Exactly.
won't admit it. And now they've done the most. They've taken it a step further, and brought the man back after saying they couldn't bring him back.
Mm-hmm.
We have no control. And had the
All of a sudden, you got control.
no, but you had that child from El Salvador, Bukele,
Yeah.
saying, basically with his mouth wrapped around Trump's butt, saying he couldn't bring him back. Well, now he's back and you're charging him with these crimes. You have to prove it, bitches. No. You could say all you want. That Bondi woman was up there talking about stuff that wasn't even in the indictment. He trafficked children. He did such and such. Prove it.
Mm-hmm. So, y'all. Oh, you had something to say, Cam?
Yeah. People just need to understand that just because you say something doesn't make it true. I could say till I'm blue in the face, Pam Bondi is a serial killer. Do I know if that's true? Is that adjudicated in the court of law? No, it's not. Should I say that's true? No, because I know it's not true. But these bitches, like Pam Bondi, get on here and say shit that's not true, and knowing full fucking well that it will never hold up in the court of law because it's not true. Like, y'all are just ridiculous. Danger.
Oh, and they know what they're doing.
It really is dangerous because they, like I said before, they've indicted LaMonica McIver for getting shoved around,
saying that
by
she
HSI
assaulted or impeded ICE. Y'all was trying to arrest the sitting mayor of a city,
but they were pushing her around. She's a member of Congress who had a right to inspect that facility.
She's more important than y'all are.
Yep.
It's just it's like we threw the looking glass here.
Reckoning. The next president needs to go through and find every last one of these agents and hold them accountable. The higher ups hold Trump accountable, hold Pam Bondi accountable, hold them all accountable.
That's why they wearing masks?
Yeah, because they know that what they're doing is wrong and illegal and they will face charges. But we need to find a way, using facial recognition, something.
Yeah.
Well, they're being paid by the government, so there's a record of who they are.
And these current laws probably protect them from the prosecution or the laws that they're trying to get passed in this big ugly ass bill. This police, I forget what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, y'all, moving on to Clown of the Week. As you could imagine, the clowns of the week are naturally Donald John Trump and Elon Reap Musk.
Exactly.
No, that's his middle name, Reap.
Reap?
ERM.
I thought it was Aloysius. That's just me.
He looked like it. But they made it to Clown of the Week because, every week they should be Clown of the Week, but especially this week.
They keep doing shit.
Because of their amazing display of affection late last week. Was very entertaining. It was very unbecoming for this country, especially in light of the chaos they both have unleashed on this country in just 143 days.
Mm-hmm. That's all it's been?
Yep.
I feel like 143 years.
Feel like 1,000 days. So on that note, y'all, that is going to do it for us today. Thank y'all again for watching, especially until the end.
Thank y'all.
Please don't forget to follow us on all of our socials. Y'all know we are on the road to 1,000 subscribers. So please hit that subscribe button. Share Pragmotiv with your friends, your family, your cousins, your dogs, your cats.
The dogs, the cats.
Connect with us online. Cameron, I'll make you do the outro yet. Connect with us online, please, at pragmotiv.com, and you can subscribe to get bonus content.
You the one that brought up the dogs and the cats.
You can subscribe at pragmotivplus.com. We appreciate all of y'all. And until next time, Cameron, I hate you. Until next time, stay prag motivated.
Peace, y'all.
Peace.